Is Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze still ripe for the picking in 2024? Is it worth peeling yourself away from everything else you've got going on to indulge in the adventure? No more banana puns, let's jump into it. Welcome back to the Decade Arcade, where we dive into the games as they hit their 10-year-old mark to let you know, is the game worth your investment in the current day and age? Just to cover the most basic layer, if you're a fan of the original Donkey Kong games, well, this is Donkey Kong Country Returns. Basically, it feels and plays almost exactly like you remember those Super Nintendo games. Except this time around, it's solely focused on Donkey Kong, with Dixie, Cranky, and Diddy more of playing a supplemental role as buddies that you pick up and then they augment your moveset. The platforming in Donkey Kong Country Returns Tropical Freeze is like this weird middle ground between precision and loosey-goosey gotta go fast. It feels really good, but it takes some getting used to compared to, well, most other platformers, I feel like. But that's kind of how Donkey Kong Country games have always been ever since the Super Nintendo, so it's not a bad thing, it's a good thing ultimately. They feel really good to play. Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze's graphics definitely bring the heat. They are a treat for your eyes. They constantly are bringing new things in on almost every single level, while most platformers give me this feel of like the levels are connected to each other in a world, but they're all just kind of like thrown together whateverness. Tropical Freeze's levels and their graphical design and aesthetics, like they play out a story aesthetically. So like you'll be in a jungle where it has a whole I can't wait to be king vibe on the first level, and then you get to the second level and like you're actually at the oasis. And then you'll get to like the next level and it's like the forest is on fire and you're traversing through a part of the forest that's on fire. And then you'll get to the next level and it's like you're traveling through maybe like a loose forest canyon type vibe. They all feel interconnected, but also like separate, and like they're really pushing themselves to elevate the aesthetic storytelling that a platforming game can do. And that's always kind of been one of Donkey Kong Country's strong suits, I feel like, is they have a very strong aesthetic and graphical pull to them. And Donkey Kong's expressions and the expressions of the buddies as you get them and everything are also very, very good. The game is very well animated, for the bosses to the Kongs to even just the basic enemies, and the way the levels play out, everything is really, really well done on the graphical side. One of the biggest ways to kind of showcase this is there are levels similar to old Donkey Kong Country games where you are in a minecart and it's just like an auto runner basically. Well, those minecart levels, there's also parts of them or like other levels that are minecart levels, but they are actually like you're in a boat on the water surface, and it plays out slightly different on mechanics because you have to like jump, and then your character, due to gravity, will go under the water and then come back up. So, and the minecart is obviously just on the minecart, you do jumps over gaps and everything. And then there's also like rocket versions where it's kind of like Flappy Bird, where you're just like constantly maintaining thrust versus no thrust. And overall, these levels have a very similar vibe, right? Auto runner, but they play with aesthetics and the graphics to an extent where every time I came up to a new level, no matter what the level was, I was just like, whoa, this is freaking cool. Like the game just feels really, really good to play and watch. Breaking down the overall gameplay mechanics, in Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, you will be rolling, jumping, and climbing a lot. Outside of that, there is like a ground pound mechanic that reveals secrets and helps stun enemies, and there is also picking up and throwing things. Dealing with enemies is about the same as a usual platformer flow. You either jump on them or you chuck something at them. It's not too deep, but for a platforming game like this, it doesn't really need to be that deep. Where Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze really starts to pick up the interest in how its mechanics play out, because all the mechanics do play out in really fun and interesting ways as you're partaking in the levels. They get even more interesting once you mix in the buddies. So you can get Dixie Kong, Diddy Kong, and Cranky Kong, and they all offer their own little unique twist to adjust Donkey Kong's kit. Dixie Kong gives you like a little hover, like second jump. Diddy Kong offers a longer hover that just like keeps going. Diddy Kong also like will let you roll for like almost what feels like infinitely. And Cranky Kong is like the weirdest one of the bunch, where with Cranky Kong, you actually have like a pogo stick thing. And it's really good for like bouncing on spikes and things like that. The boss battles in Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze are always a treat. Every single time I got to a boss battle, I was like, I want to see how this plays out. And the bosses have really cool expressions and really cool kits. And it's not like your typical platformer, hit them 3 times, you win. It's actually hit them 3 times, new phase, 3 times, new phase, 3 times, new phase, which, you know, is just like, how do we expand this? But every phase, they have different mechanics, and it expands on the base mechanics of the last phase that you just fought through. And as a whole, like even the arena changes as you fight these bosses. So it's like you're actually chasing the boss, or the boss is actually like having a story to tell as they're fighting you. It's not just, here, I'm a boss, oh, I lost. It's like you feel anger or desperation or whatever else from the boss. Am I overcomplicating a Nintendo platformer game? Maybe, but I'm not kidding you. The graphical presentation of this game and the bosses was just really cool. And they have some of the coolest music, like the second world with the owl boss in particular. Music was like so good. As a whole, the game's whole soundtrack is really, really freaking good. Like, these are songs that you would want to be jamming to while you're just working or working out or whatever else. They are that good. The soundtrack is really freaking good. Like most platformers, this game has a whole bunch of collectibles in it. There is the usual collect the letters of Kong. There is puzzle pieces to collect in the map. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be a reference to the old Rare game of Banjo-Kazooie, but there's puzzle pieces to collect. And then there is also coins to collect. And the coins let you buy perks at Funky's shop. So you can buy like on-command buddies. You can buy Squawk to let you know where collectibles are in a level. All sorts of little things like that. But the main thing I was using the coins towards for the most part was just this little gacha machine, which gave you collectibles. Like think collecting trophies in Smash Brothers, but slightly different, which actually Smash Brothers Melee did use a gacha machine. So pretty much think of that. But as a whole, game's really fun. Funky's shop is useful. I did start using it at some point because I kept like wanting to have buddies when I went into a level to retry it. And so I bought a bunch of buddies, and then you're never hurting for coins. It's kind of just like an extra way to indulge in other mechanics of the game. It never feels like you're running low on coins. For that matter, it never feels like you're running low on lives. Like even when I would come up to a part that was tricky, they always have like a extra life sitting somewhere at that difficult part. So you keep getting the extra life, and you're collecting bananas every time you fail. And so you're like actually slowly gaining lives as you continue to die over and over. It's a challenging game, but much like most platformers nowadays don't focus on lives, this game does not focus on lives, and they don't really want you to, which is good. I think the lives mechanic in platformers is kind of dated at this point. It just doesn't feel necessary, but to each their own. So there is a fair amount of challenge to the game, but it's not overtly like pull your hair out levels of challenge. Like, it just feels right is all about the best I can say it. As a whole, Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze is well worth your time, and it's well worth the money. It does cost $40 to $60. It's got that Nintendo price point. Topic for a whole nother video, but it is well worth it. The game lasts maybe 10 to 20 hours if you just speed run through. If you're collecting stuff or you just want to leisurely go along, it might last you a little bit longer. It is very good quality, Everything about it, from the graphics to the aesthetics, everything is really good. The storytelling from the aesthetics is really good. The boss storytelling is really good. Everything about the game feels awesome. The price point, $40 to $60, not as awesome. However, it is Nintendo. We just gotta accept them for what they are. So go ahead and pick it up. Have a grand old time with it. You will have a grand old time with it. It's good for children. It's good for adults. It's good for those seeking easy, hard, middle ground. Whatever your shtick is, it will work for you. It looks amazing and it plays amazing. If you liked the video, be sure to leave a like, drop a comment down below with anything you have to say about the game or otherwise. And don't forget to subscribe for more content like this, more reviews in the future. This has been Victorian Genetics with the Decade Arcade. I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out and game on.